Have you ever felt emotionally drained, unable to navigate life's challenges with the resilience and strength you know you're capable of? It's easy to get caught in the whirlwind of life. Stress, setbacks, and doubts can all cloud our emotional well-being. But what if I told you that the secret to emotional strength isn't about constantly pushing harder, but about mastering your inner world? In today's episode, we're diving into 10 habits that will make you emotionally stronger, inspired by Stoic philosophy. The Stoics understood that true strength doesn't come from avoiding hardship or seeking external validation. It comes from within. It's about learning to respond to life's challenges with wisdom, self-control, and resilience. What if you could start your day with clarity, remain grounded during difficult moments, and find strength in silence and self-reflection? These habits are the foundation of Stoic resilience, and in this episode, I'll show you how to implement them in your own life. By incorporating these practices into your daily routine, you can transform your emotional landscape, becoming more self-aware, empowered, and steady in the face of adversity. So, are you ready to start building emotional strength that will serve you in all areas of life? Let's explore these 10 habits to become emotionally stronger, with Stoic wisdom guiding the way. 1. Discern what you can control. You start your day by identifying control. What's yours? What's not? Every day begins with a flurry of thoughts. What to do first, how to manage your time, and what challenges you'll face. But here's a question. How often do you stop and think about what you actually have control over? How many of those thoughts are spent on things outside of your control? Things that cause unnecessary stress and drain your emotional energy. The first habit for emotional strength is simple yet powerful. Start your day by identifying what you can control. The Stoics were masters of understanding the difference between what is within our control and what isn't. They believed that true peace and strength come when we focus our energy only on what we can influence and let go of the rest. The Stoic principle of internal and external circles beautifully illustrates this idea. Everything in life can be categorized into two groups: those things we control and those things we don't. For example, you can control how you respond to a difficult situation, but you cannot control how others act or the unexpected challenges life throws your way. When we spend our time and energy trying to control things that are outside our sphere, we're essentially wasting our emotional resources. When you wake up in the morning, take a moment to ask yourself, what do I have control over today? Make a mental list of things that are within your power: your attitude, your actions, your responses, your decisions. This mental shift immediately empowers you. You stop wasting time on things that are beyond your influence, and instead, you direct your energy where it matters most. For instance, if you're facing a busy workday, instead of stressing about meetings that are out of your control or how others will react to your proposals, focus on your preparation, your mindset, and how you'll handle each moment. If there's an obstacle ahead, remind yourself that you control how you approach it. Whether you stay calm, whether you find a solution, or whether you let it derail your day. The beauty of focusing on what you can control is that it puts the power back in your hands. You stop feeling helpless or at the mercy of the world. This shift in mindset builds emotional strength because it frees you from frustration. You stop internalizing external factors and start owning your day. The more you practice this habit, the more it becomes second nature. And soon it won't matter what happens around you. You'll know exactly where to direct your energy for the best results. The Stoics teach us that we can't control everything, but we can always control how we respond. By starting each day with the intention of focusing on what's within your control, you're taking the first step toward mastering your emotional world. And this habit doesn't just apply to your morning. It sets the tone for every moment of your day, helping you navigate challenges with clarity and composure. So, tomorrow morning, before you get caught in the whirlwind of responsibilities and distractions, pause and reflect. What do you control today? Focus on that and watch how it transforms your emotional state and the rest of your day. 2. Pause before you react. Practice the inner pause before reacting to emotions. Choose your response. Have you ever said something in anger or frustration only to immediately regret it? It's happened to all of us. We're caught in the heat of the moment, and before we know it, our emotions get the best of us, and we react impulsively. That initial emotional response, whether it's anger, sadness, or frustration, can lead us to make decisions or say things we wouldn't otherwise. The second habit for building emotional strength is practicing the inner pause, a brief moment of stillness before reacting to your emotions. Instead of immediately letting anger, sadness, or frustration dictate your response, you give yourself the time to pause, reflect, and choose your response consciously. This simple but powerful practice allows you to take control of your emotional reactions rather than letting them control you. The Stoics were firm believers in the power of self-control. They understood that while we can't always control our emotions, we can always control how we respond to them. Epictetus, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, our emotional reactions aren't automatic. They're shaped by how we choose to interpret and respond to what happens around us. Here's how the inner pause works. When you feel that surge of emotion, whether it's anger, frustration, or even anxiety, train yourself to stop for a brief moment before reacting. This could be as simple as counting to 5, taking a deep breath, or even stepping away from the situation for a few seconds. This pause gives your mind a moment to process the emotion before you let it take over. The pause doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, it means acknowledging them without letting them dictate your behavior. For example, if a colleague makes a comment that frustrates you, instead of snapping back immediately, take a deep breath and give yourself a moment to reflect. What am I truly feeling right now? What would a calm, thoughtful response look like? This practice allows you to break the automatic cycle of reacting and provides you with the space to choose a more measured, intentional response. Over time, this habit not only helps you avoid regrettable reactions, but also builds emotional resilience. You become more capable of responding with clarity and wisdom, even in the most emotionally charged situations. The beauty of the inner pause is that it can be applied to every emotional reaction, big or small. Whether it's frustration in a meeting, anger in a heated argument, or anxiety before an important event, taking that brief moment to pause allows you to regain control over your emotional state and direct it in a more productive way. Incorporating this habit into your life doesn't require dramatic changes. It's about consistently pausing, reflecting, and choosing your response. It's a practice that can be built over time and will make you more emotionally resilient. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to handle your emotions with grace and composure. So, next time you feel your emotions rising, take a deep breath and practice the inner pause. Let that small moment of stillness be the bridge between your feelings and your response. By doing so, you'll find yourself reacting with more thoughtfulness, confidence, and emotional strength. 3. Embrace self-honesty. Be honest with yourself. Own your truth without shame. One of the greatest challenges we face in our emotional journey is being honest with ourselves, truly confronting the parts of ourselves we often avoid. Rejection, failure, and emotional turmoil all have a way of making us question our worth, our actions, and our decisions. In these moments, it's tempting to hide behind denial or defensiveness, but it's in these very moments of vulnerability that we have the opportunity to grow stronger. The third habit to build emotional strength is to be honest with yourself, to embrace your truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. The Stoics understood that facing our flaws, acknowledging our emotions, and accepting our imperfections were essential steps on the path to wisdom and emotional resilience. By facing the truth of who we are, without shame or avoidance, we lay the foundation for true growth and self-awareness. When we are honest with ourselves, we stop hiding from our mistakes, flaws, and insecurities. We stop pretending that we are perfect or that everything is always fine. Instead, we acknowledge our shortcomings not as failures, but as opportunities to learn and improve. Self-honesty is not about judgment or self-criticism. It's about acceptance. Think about the times you've avoided facing uncomfortable truths about yourself. Maybe it was a pattern in your relationships, a career choice that wasn't right for you, or a habit that held you back. How did you feel when you finally faced that truth? Did it sting at first? Of course. But it was in that moment of honesty that you gained clarity, understanding, and the power to change. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This powerful statement reminds us that true strength comes from knowing and accepting our authentic self. Only when we are honest with ourselves can we begin to take full responsibility for our actions and choices. We stop blaming external factors and start focusing on what we can control: our responses, our mindset, and our growth. Honesty with yourself means acknowledging not only your flaws, but also your strengths. It's about accepting the full picture of who you are. You might feel vulnerable at first, but this honesty brings freedom. It helps you stop pretending to be someone you're not and frees you from the emotional weight of denial. To practice this habit, start by creating time for self-reflection each day. Sit with your thoughts and ask yourself some challenging questions. Where am I holding myself back? What do I need to admit to myself in order to move forward? What do I need to change in my life to align with my true values? By making self-honesty a daily habit, you begin to peel away the layers of defensiveness and denial that have been clouding your vision. As you become more comfortable with the truth, you begin to see yourself and the world more clearly. You will be able to approach situations with more confidence because you are grounded in your own reality, not in an illusion. So, start embracing your truth without shame. Let go of the need to hide, deny, or make excuses for who you are. By being honest with yourself, you unlock a deeper level of emotional strength and authenticity that empowers you to face any challenge with clarity and resilience. 4. Reflect on your day. Reflect on daily events. Carry a mirror for your life. At the end of the day, how often do you truly take a moment to reflect on your actions, reactions, and emotions? Many of us rush through our days, pushing forward without stopping to examine the experiences that shape us. But the key to emotional strength lies in the ability to reflect on our daily events and learn from them. This practice, known as self-reflection, is one of the most effective ways to cultivate emotional awareness and growth. The fourth habit for emotional strength is to spend time each day reflecting on your wins and mistakes. The Stoics believed that self-awareness was essential for living a virtuous and intentional life. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, would often write about his actions and reactions to the events of his day, seeking to understand where he could improve. Reflection allows us to step outside of the hustle and bustle of daily life and observe ourselves with clarity and objectivity. Why is reflection so powerful? First, it helps us to become more aware of our emotional responses. We often react to situations without thinking, driven by impulses or habits. But when we take the time to pause and reflect, we gain insight into why we acted the way we did. Did we react with anger or fear? Did we approach challenges with calm and reason? Reflection helps us identify patterns in our behavior, allowing us to recognize areas for improvement and reinforce our strengths. Think about the last time you experienced a difficult or emotionally charged situation. How did you handle it? Did you respond thoughtfully, or did you react impulsively? By taking a few minutes at the end of each day to reflect on moments like these, you can identify what worked and what didn't. This reflection isn't about self-criticism. It's about understanding ourselves better so that we can make more intentional, aligned choices in the future. For instance, if you had a disagreement with a colleague, instead of moving on with a sense of frustration, take a moment to reflect on the situation. Did you listen actively? Did you stay calm? Or did you let your emotions dictate your response? By reflecting on this interaction, you gain insight into how you can improve your communication and emotional response next time. This practice of reflection doesn't have to be long or complicated. In fact, it can be as simple as taking 5 minutes before bed to mentally review your day. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? What could I have done differently? How did I handle my emotions? And what can I learn from this experience? This quick exercise allows you to course correct before emotions spiral out of control and helps you approach tomorrow with more wisdom and control. The Stoics used reflection not only to learn from their mistakes, but also to celebrate their progress. Reflection isn't only about recognizing where we fall short, it's also about acknowledging our growth and resilience. By looking at our actions through the lens of reflection, we give ourselves the opportunity to appreciate how far we've come, even in small moments. So, make self-reflection a regular habit. Spend just a few minutes each evening reflecting on your day. Use that time to learn from your experiences, celebrate your progress, and identify areas for growth. The more you practice this habit, the stronger your emotional awareness and resilience will become. It's through this simple yet powerful habit that you build the emotional clarity and wisdom needed to navigate life's challenges with strength and purpose. 5. Practice daily gratitude. Practice daily gratitude. Remember what you already have. How often do you find yourself focused on what you don't have, what you want, or what's missing in your life? It's easy to fall into the trap of constantly striving for more, whether it's a promotion at work, a better relationship, or even just more time in the day. We live in a world that encourages us to always be reaching for the next goal, the next achievement, and the next level. But in the rush to achieve more, we often forget to appreciate what we already have. The 5th habit for building emotional strength is to practice daily gratitude, a habit that Stoicism values deeply. Gratitude isn't just about feeling thankful for the good things that happen to us. It's about acknowledging and appreciating the simple things in life that we often take for granted. This practice can shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. And it's one of the most powerful ways to build emotional resilience. Gratitude grounds us in the present moment. When we focus on what we have instead of what we lack, we shift our perspective. We start to see how much we've already accomplished, how many blessings we already possess, and how fortunate we are to have what we have. This shift in mindset doesn't only improve our emotional well-being, it also helps us appreciate the journey rather than just the destination. The Stoics, such as Seneca, believed in the power of gratitude as a cornerstone of emotional strength. Seneca famously wrote, "A good character is not formed in a week or a month. It is created little by little, day by day." Gratitude plays a role in this daily process. It's not about waiting for big events to be thankful for. It's about appreciating the everyday moments, the things that often go unnoticed. Gratitude allows us to cultivate a sense of peace, regardless of the circumstances, by reminding us of all the things that are already good in our lives. Start by taking just a few minutes every day to reflect on the things you are grateful for, whether it's the people in your life, the opportunities you've had, or even the small moments of joy. A delicious cup of coffee, a beautiful sunset, a good conversation. Take a moment to write them down or simply acknowledge them in your mind. This simple practice can have a profound impact on your emotional strength and outlook on life. But gratitude isn't just a passive feeling, it's an active choice. You can choose to focus on the things that make you feel content and thankful, even when things aren't perfect. You can choose to see the positive aspects of your life, even in the face of challenges or setbacks. When we practice gratitude, we train our minds to focus on the abundance in our lives rather than the absence. And this shift in focus builds a resilient emotional foundation that helps us face adversity with a clear, calm mind. Gratitude also deepens our connection to others. When we express gratitude, whether to a friend, a family member, or a colleague, we strengthen our relationships and create an environment of positivity and support. It's a habit that not only strengthens our own emotional well-being, but also spreads that strength to the people around us. So, tomorrow morning, start the day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. And when challenges arise, remind yourself of the things that are already going well. Gratitude is a daily practice that will reframe your mindset, foster emotional strength, and help you stay grounded in the present no matter what comes your way. 6. Master the art of letting go. Learn the art of letting go. Accept loss as part of life. We all experience loss, whether it's the loss of a job, a relationship, a dream, or even a sense of certainty about the future. Loss can come in many forms, and it often brings with it a mix of emotions: sadness, anger, disappointment, and fear. In the face of loss, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, like the rug has been pulled out from under you. But here's the truth: loss is not the end. It's a part of life. And learning to let go is one of the most powerful ways to build emotional resilience. The sixth habit for emotional strength is learning the art of letting go. Embracing loss as a natural part of life, not as something that defines or breaks you. The Stoics believed that everything in life is temporary, including the things we hold dear. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." In other words, life is constantly in flux. People, possessions, opportunities, everything is subject to change. It's not about avoiding loss or trying to control it, but about accepting it with grace and understanding. Letting go doesn't mean that you don't care, or that you don't value what you've lost. It means acknowledging that loss is inevitable and that holding on to it, whether through grief, anger, or regret, only harms your emotional well-being. By letting go, you free yourself from the burden of the past and open up space for new opportunities, growth, and peace. Think about the things in your life that you've been holding on to. Are there situations, people, or even old beliefs that you've been clinging to, even though they no longer serve you? Often, we hold on because we fear the unknown, or because we don't want to face the pain of letting go. But in reality, it is only through letting go that we create the space for something better to enter our lives. The act of letting go can be liberating. It frees you from the emotional weight of clinging to what was. When you let go, you allow yourself to move forward without being tied to the past. Whether it's letting go of resentment after a difficult breakup, releasing expectations after a job rejection, or accepting that you cannot change the past. Each act of letting go strengthens your ability to embrace life as it is, with all its uncertainties. In practical terms, learning to let go can be as simple as acknowledging that you can't control everything, and that it's okay to release the need to fix or hold on to things. It's about recognizing that even in the face of loss, you have the power to choose how you respond. You can choose to accept, to move forward, and to trust that life will continue to unfold in ways that are beyond your control. Letting go also means letting go of the need for external validation. Many times, we hold on to relationships, approval, or past successes because they define us. But true emotional strength comes when we realize that our worth is not tied to any external validation. It's inherent in who we are. By letting go of the need for validation, we find freedom and self-empowerment. The Stoics teach us that by letting go, we create emotional space for peace, for growth, and for new possibilities. Loss doesn't have to break us. It can shape us into stronger, more resilient individuals. So practice letting go, not as a defeat, but as an acceptance of life's natural flow. Trust that by releasing what no longer serves you, you create space for something greater to enter your life. 7. Set clear priorities. Set clear priorities. Know what truly matters. How often do you find yourself caught up in the demands of others, rushing through your day only to realize that you've spent most of your time on things that don't actually move you closer to your goals? It's so easy to get distracted by the urgent, by the things that scream for your attention, yet don't contribute to the life you truly want. Emotional strength comes from the ability to identify what truly matters and prioritize it, no matter how many distractions or external pressures may arise. The seventh habit for emotional strength is setting clear priorities, knowing what you truly value and where to focus your energy. The Stoics were masters at focusing on what was most important and not getting lost in the noise. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the need to prioritize the right actions and to always focus on what is within our control. He said, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it." In other words, we are constantly faced with choices, and what we prioritize, how we choose to spend our time and energy, determines how we experience life. Setting clear priorities means taking a step back and asking yourself, what is truly worth my time? What will I never regret giving my energy to? These are the questions that allow you to cut through the noise and focus on what matters most. In the chaos of life, it's easy to feel like we need to do everything, but the truth is, we can't. By identifying your priorities, you free yourself from the need to constantly chase after every task or demand. Think about the things you've been spending your time on. How much of it is aligned with your values and long-term goals? We often get caught up in the urgent tasks, responding to emails, attending meetings, or handling responsibilities that aren't essential to our core purpose. When we prioritize the wrong things, we end up feeling drained, stressed, and disconnected from what truly matters. On the other hand, when you make a conscious decision to focus on what truly matters, everything shifts. You become more purposeful with your time. You say no to things that don't align with your priorities and yes to the things that push you forward. This focus creates a sense of calm and clarity because you know exactly where to direct your energy. Setting priorities isn't about being busy. It's about being intentional. When you focus on what matters most, you start to let go of the small, insignificant tasks that only add to your stress without bringing any real value. Instead, you begin to pour your energy into the things that will make a difference in your life. You create the space to make progress, to grow, and to cultivate the life you truly want. The Stoics understood that true wisdom comes from focusing on the few things that are truly important and letting go of everything else. By focusing on what you can control and what will bring you closer to your goals, you create the mental and emotional space needed for clarity and success. So, take a moment today to define your top priorities. What are the things that will bring you the most fulfillment and success? What will you never regret giving your time to? By setting clear priorities, you take control of your time, your energy, and your emotional strength. This is how you begin to align your actions with your deepest values and build the life you truly desire. 8. Cultivate compassion. 主compassion. Be kind to yourself and others. In a world that often feels harsh and unforgiving, it can be easy to armor your heart, to build walls so high that nothing and no one can touch you. But true emotional strength is not cold or distant. It is found in the warmth of compassion, in the courage to be gentle with yourself and others. The 8th habit is to actively cultivate compassion, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a deliberate practice that shapes the way you move through life. The Stoics knew that we are all part of the same human family. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But he did not write this to justify bitterness. Instead, he urged himself to meet such people with patience, understanding, and kindness, because their ignorance is a human condition, not a personal affront. Compassion begins at home, with yourself. How many times have you berated yourself for a mistake, replayed your failures, or held yourself to an impossible standard? The Stoics teach us that to err is human and to forgive is divine, but forgiveness must start within. So the next time you falter, pause and speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Acknowledge the misstep, but do not let it define you. Treat your pain and disappointment with gentle honesty, not judgment. This is not weakness. It is the foundation of resilience. For when you accept your flaws and forgive yourself, you free your mind from the shackles of shame and regret. You create space for growth and change because you are no longer wasting energy on self-punishment. Compassion for others is equally vital. It is easy to judge, to react with irritation or anger when others fall short of our expectations. But every person you encounter is fighting a battle you cannot see. The Stoics remind us to look beyond the surface, to recognize the shared struggles of humanity. When someone lashes out, acts selfishly, or disappoints you, remember that their actions are shaped by their own fears and wounds. This perspective allows you to respond with empathy instead of resentment, to offer patience instead of anger, to choose understanding over judgment. Imagine the power of a world where compassion is practiced daily, where you meet your own suffering and the suffering of others with kindness rather than criticism. This does not mean tolerating harm or excusing wrongdoing, but it means responding from a place of strength and wisdom, rather than from wounded pride or vengeance. Compassion does not make you a doormat. It makes you unbreakable because you are no longer tossed about by the storms of anger and bitterness. You become a steady presence, a source of calm in the chaos. Practicing compassion can be as simple as pausing before you speak, asking yourself, is what I am about to say helpful or hurtful? It can be reaching out to someone who is struggling, or offering a word of encouragement to a friend or a stranger. It can be letting go of grudges, forgiving those who have wronged you, not for their sake, but for your own peace. As you cultivate this habit, you will find your relationships deepening, your sense of connection growing, and your emotional resilience strengthening. The Stoics believed that true greatness lies in serving others, in lifting each other up rather than tearing each other down. When you live with compassion, you become a beacon of hope and strength in a world that desperately needs it. You inspire others to do the same, and together you create a ripple effect that transforms not only your own life, but the lives of everyone you touch. 9. Practice mental detachment. Practice mental detachment. Be present without getting overwhelmed. In a world that's constantly bombarding us with information, opinions, and demands, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the noise around us. Whether it's the latest news, the pressure of social expectations, or even personal challenges, it can feel like everything requires our attention, and all at once. But here's a crucial lesson. Emotional strength comes not from reacting to everything that happens around us, but from practicing mental detachment, learning to be present without getting emotionally consumed by every external circumstance. The ninth habit for emotional strength is to practice mental detachment, which allows you to remain grounded and focused even when the world around you is chaotic. Mental detachment doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world or ignoring your emotions. It's about creating a healthy distance from external events and not letting them dictate your emotional state. It's the ability to experience life fully without being overwhelmed by it. Think of a time when you've been criticized, judged, or faced negativity. How did you react? Did you allow those external opinions to define your self-worth or disrupt your sense of peace? When we get too emotionally involved in everything happening around us, we lose our ability to stay centered and clear-headed. Mental detachment helps you step back, process the situation from a more objective perspective, and avoid getting swept away by negative emotions. The Stoics were masters of this concept. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, taught that we cannot control what others think or say about us. What we can control, however, is how we respond to those opinions. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By practicing mental detachment, we allow ourselves to experience the full range of emotions, but we don't let those emotions control us. We respond with clarity, wisdom, and calm, rather than reacting impulsively. One of the simplest ways to practice mental detachment is to start by recognizing what is within your control and what is not. You can't control other people's actions, opinions, or the outcomes of every situation, but you can control how you interpret and respond to them. When you mentally detach from the need to control everything around you, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and emotional turmoil. This practice also helps you set emotional boundaries. For example, if someone criticizes you or tries to impose their expectations on you, mental detachment allows you to acknowledge the feedback without letting it define your self-worth. You can listen, learn from it if necessary, and then let go of any emotional reaction that doesn't serve you. The goal is to remain focused on what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your emotions, while releasing the need to control others or external events. By practicing mental detachment, you also learn to remain present in the moment without letting distractions or negative influences pull you away from your true purpose. It allows you to engage with the world and people around you without becoming overly attached to outcomes, opinions, or emotions that are beyond your control. So, how can you start practicing mental detachment today? Begin by acknowledging that you don't have to respond to everything that happens around you. Take a moment to pause before reacting, whether it's to criticism, disappointment, or stress. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. By creating this mental space, you'll find that you can handle life's challenges with a sense of calm, resilience, and emotional strength. 10. Set a daily purpose. Set a daily purpose. What's your why for today? Every day, we are given the gift of time, yet how often do we wake up and simply go through the motions, letting the day unfold without purpose or intention? We fall into the rhythm of routine and let external factors dictate how we spend our time. But this passive approach can leave us feeling drained and unfulfilled. To build emotional strength, we must create a sense of purpose in each day. The 10th habit for emotional strength is setting a daily purpose. Identifying one specific goal or intention for your day that will give it meaning and direction. This isn't about overloading yourself with a list of tasks, but rather about infusing your day with intention. What do you want to achieve today? What will bring you a sense of fulfillment by the end of the day? Setting a daily purpose helps you wake up with clarity and energy, knowing exactly what to focus on. Think about how often we let our days slip by without focusing on anything meaningful. We go through the motions, responding to emails, attending meetings, running errands, but at the end of the day, we feel like we haven't really made progress toward what matters. When we set a daily purpose, we are actively choosing where to focus our energy and attention, ensuring that each day is a step toward something bigger. The Stoics often emphasize the importance of living with intention. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself daily of his purpose, of the values he wanted to uphold, and of the way he wanted to show up in the world. He said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By setting a daily purpose, you ensure that your thoughts and actions are aligned with your deeper values and goals, giving you the focus and clarity you need to navigate the challenges of the day. Setting a daily purpose also provides a sense of accomplishment. When you wake up with a clear goal in mind, whether it's completing a task, practicing self-care, learning something new, or helping someone, you give yourself something to strive for. By the end of the day, when you can check that goal off your list, you'll feel a sense of pride and fulfillment. This builds emotional resilience as it reinforces the habit of taking action and making progress each day, no matter how small. This daily purpose doesn't have to be grand or monumental. It could be something as simple as, "Today I will take care of my body," or "I will learn something new and apply it," or "I will support a friend who needs it." Whatever your purpose is, make it meaningful to you and aligned with your long-term goals. It's about infusing your day with a sense of direction that leaves you feeling satisfied, rather than just completing tasks for the sake of it. So, tomorrow morning, take a moment to reflect on your why for the day. What do you want to focus on? What will make the day meaningful to you? Setting a daily purpose is a small but powerful practice that can transform your mindset, boost your productivity, and help you approach each day with intention and emotional strength. As we come to the end of this journey through the 10 Stoic Habits for emotional strength, let these words settle deep within you. Building emotional strength isn't about avoiding hardship or controlling everything around us. It's about mastering our responses, choosing our mindset, and creating habits that align with our deepest values. The 10 habits we've explored today, ranging from recognizing what's within our control to setting a daily purpose, are not just ways to navigate challenges. They are ways to build a resilient, empowered, emotional foundation. When we practice these habits, we begin to reclaim control over our emotional world. We stop reacting impulsively, and instead, we respond with clarity, focus, and strength. We build the emotional resilience to face rejection, adversity, and life's inevitable ups and downs with grace and wisdom. The Stoics taught us that emotional strength comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing it with the right mindset. They knew that true power lies in how we handle life's challenges. By setting clear priorities, practicing gratitude, letting go of what we can't control and consistently setting our own purpose, we move closer to becoming the strongest version of ourselves. I challenge you today. Pick one of these 10 habits and commit to practicing it this week, whether it's taking that inner pause before reacting, setting a daily purpose, or practicing mental detachment. The small changes you make today will build the emotional strength you need for tomorrow. It's the consistent effort, day by day, that will lead to the transformation you're seeking. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we can continue to learn, grow, and become emotionally stronger every day.